Okay, welcome everybody. I'm Matthew Bernstein. I'm the chair of the Department of Film and Media at Emory University and a member of the board of directors of the AJFF. And I'm so glad to welcome you to this very special conversation with director Nir Bergman and actor Shai Avivi. We've just watched this incredible film, Here We Are, an incredibly moving and humorous and enriching film, and we have this extraordinary opportunity to talk with Mr. Bergman and Mr. Avivi about the film and how they made it and their ideas about it. To introduce them, I think Nir Bergman is no stranger to any of the AJFF audience members. I first became aware of his work in 2002, 2003 with the showing in this country of his debut feature film, Broken Wings, about a family recovering from the loss of a father. It was very moving and very powerful. And he's just continued to make remarkable films. We screened a couple of years ago another one of his films, Intimate Grammar, which was very moving and very powerful. And you may know that he's done a lot of creativity in television, but I think best well known to us in America is the original Israeli version of what became the HBO series In Treatment. And then Mr. Avivi is well known to the AJFF audiences, particularly for a film we screened a couple of years ago called 1 Week and a Day, in which he played a father in grief over the death of his son. But he's had a long and distinguished career. Not that you would necessarily recognize it from Here We Are, but particularly in the realm of comedy and satirical sketches. And so he also has had a major career in Israeli television and film. So, gentlemen, it's an honor to have you both here, and I look forward to our conversation about this remarkable film, Here We Are.
Thank you. Thanks.
So first of all, I want to congratulate you both on winning the Ophir Awards, the Israeli Academy Awards, Nir for Best Director and Shai for Best Actor, along with Best Supporting Actor for Noam Imbar, who could not join us today, and also the screenwriter, Dana Eitzis. So to begin, Mr. Bergman, I'll call you Nir, if that's okay. Nir, I understand you got the inspiration for this story from a family situation, a family relationship. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Well, the story is an inspiration of the screenplay writer, Dana Eitzis' family, not mine.
Oh, okay.
Dana is the writer of the film, and actually, you know, I feel that the whole film is a sort of a combination of creation between the both of us. I mean, I think the film is Dana's film as well as mine, or the opposite, doesn't matter. She wrote the film about her father and her autistic brother. The inspiration was, I guess, a question she had in mind: what will happen when my father and my brother will have to separate? So it's very personal for her. She knows what she's talking about. She knows what she's writing about. She knows these characters very well. I also know them. I met them, and for a few times, and also Shai knows them a little bit. So they were the inspiration for the film. Yeah.
Well, and this is an issue that faces so many parents of children who are differently abled or disabled. So it really rings true. And I understand that you and Noam Imber, who plays the son Yuri, did a lot of research, as it were, or experience in understanding that relationship between the father and the son. Could you talk a bit about that? And Shai, you may have been part of this as well.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to start, Shai?
As I see the movie, the more times I see the movie, The first time that I saw the movie, I looked obviously about myself, yeah, and I checked myself each and every gesture. And when I saw it more times, I could look at Noam, my son in the movie, and saw how great work the Nir and him did on this character. I participated in the research, and we went to see some families, but when I look at Noam, I see how much how amount of work these two guys did on this character, and it's amazed me.
Yes, I understand, but correct me if I'm wrong, that Noam is not himself differently abled, that he himself is not autistic.
No,
No,
he's not autistic.
because it
it's
was,
so good.
yeah, no, I was going to say it's a completely
Yeah.
convincing performance. I mean, just
Yeah.
really remarkable in his gestures and his looks and his body language. It's really quite an achievement.
I think he would be proud to hear the question.
Yeah, yes. Shai, our festival goers, as I mentioned, know you best, I think, from the playing the father in 1 week and a day. You seem to have a knack for playing very stubborn fathers. How is that? Fathers who go their own way, who are doing what they need to do for their own emotional satisfaction.
Yeah.
And it's rooted in the relationships between fathers and sons.
The Israeli films skipped my lover abilities, and they put me into my fatherhood phase. So I had to do it variously. I did three feature films as a father, and each of one of them has his nuance and his angle. And I think all of those three fathers that I've acted go till the end with his angle. And in this movie, his protection, his love, his fatherhood went till till infinity and beyond.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
dog. Chutzah.
It's his dog, probably.
I muted everything but the dog, so now.
Dogs are welcome. Although there aren't any dogs in this film. But anyway, I think one of the virtues of the film is how the character of Aharon is built up. I mean, this is a film where we observe. Nothing is really told to us directly. And I know that's a function of the script in terms of character revelation. But, as the film progresses, I mean, we don't know a lot about Aharon when we're beginning, other than that he's a devoted father. And so it's really the kind of delayed revelation that he's had this incredibly successful career as an artist that he's given up. And I think that's really one of the more fascinating things about the film, because we are observing so much, but there's a lot we don't know.
Yeah.
And I wonder how that played into your performance of the character, your conception of the character.
I think that this slow disclosure is great for an actor, and it's great for a film, that you know that you don't have to spill everything on the first 10 minutes of the movie. You can count on the longevity, and you can count on the intelligence of the audience and the intelligence of the script, and that you can bring everything in its time. You don't have to say in the first 2 minutes, listen, I'm a genius, I'm mad, you have a journey to make this, and it's amazing.
Yes, and at the same time, as the film progresses, I mean, we're with Aharon for a certain amount, and then as the schemes get wilder, the evasion of the putting Yuri in this home for autistic adults, the audience has a difficulty negotiating this. I mean, and it's interesting because one of the things about the film is who is really objecting to Yuri going to this place and leaving Aharon. Is it Aharon? Is it Yuri? I mean, clearly it's Yuri, but Aharon doesn't want this to happen as well. And, it was interesting. I wanted to ask you, I read a critic's review of the film that actually suggested Aharon kind of manipulated Yuri into that central fit that he has, that rage he has after Aharon is telling him, yeah, we'll go back home, but then we got to go to this other place where mom is waiting for us. And I as I look at the scene again, I don't really see the clues that this is something he's precipitating to try to keep Yuri with him, but rather something spontaneous that he's decided to talk about. This is what's actually happening.
Yeah, I think he went too far in his thoughts. We worked a lot on what you're talking about. We wanted to show first the father's point of view of life, the way he sees the world. And the way he sees the world is that he needs to protect Uri, and that he's the only one who can protect Uri. He's the only one who really knows how to, and he's the only one who loves him till infinity and back. And therefore, the mother seems to us in the beginning, we think she's like the bad witch. And then slowly, as we go on in the film, and this is the trick that we planted, is that suddenly you're not so sure about who's right, who's wrong, and suddenly this like perfect martyr, the one who's sacrificing everything for his son, suddenly you think, maybe he's a little bit hiding behind his son from the failure of his life. And maybe he himself is too fragile for this world. Maybe he himself is a little bit on the spectrum also. So all these things we wanted to, to slowly come to mind of the people who sees the film, and then to keep them in this hard dilemma about who's right, who's wrong, and which we actually saw on our research of how this dilemma is extremely hard. This is a true dilemma.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's masterfully done, as you're describing what our emotions are, reactions, and what the reality is. It really is, and that also goes to this idea of slow disclosure. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the visual style of the film. I mean, there's so many elements of the film that can contribute. I mean, the music is so soft, a lot of the time it almost has a wispiness that seems to me appropriate to the fragility of the relationship and the reality that's being constructed. But of course, what stands out to me is your use of these very long takes. There are a lot of close-ups. I mean, I think of Aharon calling his wife at the train station after Yuri has had this fit, and we are in that telephone booth. And we see Shai in extreme close-up, and so that's obviously a gift to an actor to be able to do that. But I think it's also really integral to your ability to depict these relationships, these intimate relationships. I wonder if you could both talk about that.
Do you want to start, Shai?
I think this is the battlefield of an actor, and everything happens here. And to be more precise, it's not even here; it's inside. It's in the back of the face that everything is going. And Nir is one of his masterities. One of his qualities is working with actors and make the atmosphere and make the option to this battlefield to be as wide and open and showing as it can be. And this style of of relationship between camera and face is a heaven for an actor. And I say the film is sometimes it's tough, and it's hard to see, or it's very emotion. But for me as an actor, it was a heavenly trip with Nir.
Yeah, but Matthew, don't believe him. Every scene we've finished, he says, "I think I need another take."
I'm an actor after all,
Yes.
It's my job.
I'm not sure that I was completely there. Maybe,
Uh-huh.
if you feel it's okay, then it's okay.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's great, because I know Nir as a great director, and if it say I have it, I can trust on it. So it's also part of the heavenly. You know that you're in safe hands.
yeah.
That your face is in safe hands.
Shai did a lot of work on this film. You wouldn't believe. You're saying, yeah, he was acting the father here and the father here, but this is something totally different what he did here. It's very strange because on one hand he worked on gestures that are completely new for him.
Mm.
For instance, he was working like this a lot, like different. He did something different with his jaws, and also he played with the way he builds sentences in a way to make himself a little bit different, a little bit, I think, less sarcastic or less. Oh,
Less me.
No, it's more you eventually, I think. But on the other hand, he's totally. How do you say something that you can see through? Like
Translucent, transparent.
Transparent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like his skin is transparent. You can see everything that he's feeling, and he's very fragile. I think it's the most fragile part that Shai did ever. And I mean,
Obviously, I think that I got to this film like, I wanted to make this jump to show not only my face, to show also my heart. And in this combination, the script, Nir, and this movie, I could do this, and it's amazing gift for me.
Yes. Well, and it's marvelous. One can't argue with the results. But Nir, you're also very interested in letting the actor have the process on film. And, again, we're talking about sort of the fascination with the character of Aharon and this kind of work that you're talking about, new gestures. And I'd also even say the lighting. Aharon looks different in different scenes. It's almost as if like visually we're seeing different aspects of his character as the film moves along. So it's really quite remarkable and wonderful. I'd like to go back to the narrative for a bit and just talk about this journey that ensues. I mean, I think the script, the film, does a remarkable job of like laying out, this is the routine. We go one place on the train, then we come back, we eat the star-shaped pasta, we say goodnight, we feed the fish, all of that. And then when they make a break for it, everything becomes much more uncertain. And so it's number one, they seem to travel. I'm not a complete expert on Israeli geography, but it seems to me they're traveling the length of Israel. I mean, they go all the way to Eilat. And then there are these various encounters along the way, Aharon's ex-lover, his brother on the boat, and they all tell us a little bit more about Aharon as the film progresses. And I wonder how you saw those encounters and that traveling, because the film is called, after all, Here We Are. So where are we? And where do we belong? So I wonder if you could talk about that aspect of the film.
Well, I guess we thought about a spontaneous escape journey, you know, that totally not planned, and this idea, of course, it's Dana's idea about the screenplays, is to have these stations where each time you stop and you meet some parts of the past of the father. In different drafts of the screenplay, we also met the grandpa, his father, Shai's father, Aaron's father, who was a dentist. But it was just a draft, I guess, to understand the psychology of the character, and then it was not needed and it was thrown away. But Effie, for instance, changed while we were working on the screenplay. She became an ex-lover. Before, she was just a friend from the past, and the character of the brother was, you know, trying to show, we were trying to show parts of Aaron, and actually to give him also a chance after the film ends to have maybe some future. We even had a scene where the brother sends him the picture after they meet. This picture, he sent him it back and tell him, you choose the frame, because Aaron said that the frame is ugly. But we cut it away, and we left Aaron to think about his life, you know. Ending the film, he needs to go back and think about, you know, the choices he made through his life, and now there's nowhere to hide, you know, because Uri is where he wants to be or where he needs to be, and now Aaron really needs to think about his life, and you as audience, you have to you have to think for yourself what will be his future, you know, and you have to think about your relationships with your kids and how you sometimes find it hard to separate from them.
Yes.
How sometimes you are too involved in their life, not in a right way. You have to think of all these questions, and you know, find your own answers.
Yes. No, that's really helpful for understanding the film. I mean, Shai, Effie is your ex-lover. You don't even get a romantic scene with her, right? There was an opportunity there for you to be romantic and a lover, right? But Aaron is so focused on what he's doing with Yuri that he's not.
But I do think it has some romantic gestures in this film. Aaron, if you see, Aaron looks like very romantic guy in this scene. He looks like Bill Murray, or I think he looks great in this film, in this scene. I think suddenly you see some gestures which surprised me in the editing room. I didn't see it when we shot, and I saw, Effie's doing something to Shai, you know, and they are actually, they used to work together in the past, years ago, right?
Oh.
Yeah, it's our, I think, fourth project together. Something like this. Yeah, I wanted to add something about, you talked about the journey that we are going in trains and going to Eilat, and it's funny because, you know, if you're doing Israel from top to toe, and you drive very slowly, it's about 7 hours, you know. I've been with my family to the States 2 years ago, and we drove hours and hours and months, about a month, and we did, you know, a little bite of California, and and we did sort of a journey film in Israel, and as Nir says, it's a bit external journey and a lot of internal journey, and it's beautiful that, you know, in so small amount of stations, you got deep inside.
Yes.
And I love journey films, you know, American journey films that you go away and the way, and we in Israel we have to do it different, you know.
Yes.
We
Yes.
have to go deep instead of length.
Yes. Yes. That's a great point. You know, this film has some of the best aspects of all great road films. So I'm a film historian, and of course, I noticed Charlie Chaplin's The Kid. I noticed also that the opening and closing credits are almost in the style of a silent film. So, you know, one of the unexpected surprises was seeing The Kid, this Charlie Chaplin's famous movie, plays the tramp who finds an orphan child, and they kind of team up together. And it's not, you know, I mean, it has sentimental aspects of it, but it's not, you know, I mean, it has a lot of humor as well. So I was wondering if you could talk about how that, I assume that was in the script to begin with, but it's used. It's not just the way Yuri amuses himself while on these trips. I mean, it's a kind of staple for him, but also the cuts to the film are always commenting on what's actually happening between Yuri and Aaron. So I wonder if you could talk about that.
Do you want to go, Shai? Or?
Again, the Chaplinian
Yes.
flavor.
Yes.
Of course, we talked about it, and I felt like a sad Chaplin in some places, because I looked a bit ridiculous, you know. And here I had this big fluffy hair, and what makes it balance is most of the time my beard, and Nir took it off. So it made me a bit ridiculous, a bit
Charlie Chaplin.
Huh?
A bit Charlie Chaplin.
No, but Chaplin is
it's
good
like
looking.
A character. He's like this, and you know, he's without beard because Uri is afraid these of hair on face. So yeah, and you look very like like a Dr. Half-Baked, you know.
And I felt like a sad Chaplin, you know, that they try to make a little jokes and things with Effie, with I drank with the spoon in the eye, but it's not going all the way, Aaron, because, you know, he's sad. He's sadder than Charlie Chaplin, but this makes a great reference. It's in the back of the mind in the film all the time. And also the symbiosis between the boy in our film and in Chaplin film, the strong relationship and the symbiotic relationship between them. So
right.
It's very beautiful to me. I didn't know all the things when we shoot, but when I saw what Nir built with these elements.
Yeah, because there is this question in The Kid, like, who is the child and who is the father? Because the tramp is always very childlike, right? Yeah. So what you're talking about is that kind of relationship of equals, where they help each other out in various ways. And I think that's another reason why it's just so appropriate to be used in this film.
If you watch again the Kid, the film, the Charlie Chaplin film, you'll see how many elements are inside our film that you don't see, but it's in the screenplay. For instance, when they escape and almost getting caught, and also we had a dream, but we took the dream out. We had this idea that he's having a dream, that they are swimming together, Aaron and him, but we took it out. There's a lot of ideas that are coming from the screenplay. From the film, from The Kid. And I think, you know, this idea came to Dana, I think, because of her brother and his love of Charlie Chaplin film.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm sure that it was totally based on her brother life. And because it took us a lot of time to get the film funded, to get the money. So her brother was growing up, and everything he was going through came inside the film.
Mhm.
So she had a few years of watching and adding stuff, making the film more sharp and more
Mhm.
sometimes funny, sometimes sad, everything in this bittersweet taste.
Mhm. Mhm. We should wrap up soon, but I did want to talk about, well, actually, one more point about Chaplin, right? Chaplin is famous for being able to manipulate objects, use them in ways that aren't conventional. And I think there's a little bit of that in the business of Aaron drawing the button for the door. When they're first going into, I think it's a bank or maybe it's a travel agency. Um, and of course, part of the great power of the ending is to see that that Yuri has learned how to do this for himself. Somebody has drawn the button. And I like to imagine that Yuri had that imagination and that was his initiative. So that's really quite wonderful. Again, the way you can transform your physical environment to make it work for you. It's quite powerful. So, speaking of the ending, the film has two surprises for me anyway. One is the mom admitting to Aaron, I guess you were right. They've had she's trying to do the right thing. Her heart's in the right place. And, there's the court order and everything else. But her actual surrender was a great moment of triumph for Aaron. And I just didn't see that her character would be able to recognize this. And it's also a wonderful moment because it affirms she wants what's best for Yuri.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and then the ending itself is kind of unexpected. Because I'm sitting watching this film and it's like, this is not going to end well. This is an impossible dilemma. How can it possibly end where everyone has some satisfaction? And the fact that it's Yuri who is able to adapt and is able to find this routine with these people is actually comforting and it's okay. And he doesn't have to see the fish. I mean, it was just wonderful. It was just, obviously melancholy for Aaron because Yuri's not going to live with him anymore, but also just a wonderful resolution that shows the possibility of resilience and adaptability, and things can go on. So I wonder if you could, talk about maybe Avi performing that final scene, Nir, and talking about how that ending came about. I understand it's the screenwriter, but how you thought about that ending.
Well, it's obvious that the whole film, Aaron wants um, to 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 be there for his son, to defend him from the cruel world, and this is what he wants. But we understand slowly that what he needs is to separate from his son. Of course, the final scene, the ending is the moment that he understands that also, because I don't think when the ending comes, I don't think you want the boy to come back to the father. You are as the audience, you are already a bit like saying, is this like a good ending for him to come back home? I'm not sure, and this is like this is like the mature, both of them mature through this journey. And I can tell you two comments that I have for this. For me, the film is about fatherhood. And I told that to Shai before, that when my firstborn came to life, my boy, I looked at him and I thought, okay, this is the most fragile thing in the world. I don't have any tools to defend him. I don't know what to do. And this was like a moment of big fear. And now when he's turning 18 and he's like a little bit taller than me and sounds louder than me, and I say, okay, I gave him tools, you know, I gave him, he still needs me, of course, but I gave him tools. But Aaron's boy remains so childish and therefore needs so much guarding. And therefore, it's so hard for him to see that his son is also growing up. And this is this moment. And you know, you asked before about the research, and this is going to, you know, to combine with your question. In our research, we met in Eilat, in scouting, in location scouting, we met a mother, a single mom with her boy. He was 16 years old. We understood he's autistic, and we started meeting this family. Shai also came, and Noam came, and we're still we're still connected actually. We kept in touch, and he's 16, he's now 17, I guess, and we saw the special relationship between the mother and her son, and how they understand each other, how they have this sort of unique bubble, yeah, to communicate. And this is where the scene with the mother came in, when the mother comes and she starts talking at the beginning of the film. She starts talking to the boy, and the boy only hears his father saying forks, plates, and they have like this communicate. And when we came to the last scene of the film, we planned it to be almost in the last shooting day. And I told Noam looked for keys for this scene. And I told him, remember the research. Remember, I will not say their names because I shouldn't. Remember that mother and that son. Now, stay in the character, but think of the moment that they will have to separate. And he gave his performance, and Shai gave his performance from his inside. I didn't need to do anything about him, really. Honestly, yeah, it was just like 2 takes, and that was it. And it was funny enough. It was raining, you know, for the first time in the shooting days. Rain came.
Yeah.
Suddenly it was gray, suddenly it was raining, almost, you know, you don't see it in the film, but because, you know, there was no, but it was a little bit raining, and that was it. That was the ending scene. Yeah.
And I want to add about the ending. I understood it, obviously, only when I saw the movie. I thought about it, that it's a great lesson in releasing. And Aaron couldn't release his son if the mother couldn't release before me, because she cut the chain of fighting. And when she released me, I could release the son. So this is, I think, the most bittersweet ending. That this is a great solution, because Nir is right. So if the boy is coming back to me, so what? We're aging together and very sad. And this, the opportunity for a person to release the past and go forward, it's the great lesson that doesn't matter on what matter, and if it's our children or parents or past lives. This is the Buddhistic lesson for all humanity, to know how to release, to set free.
Yes, absolutely. Well, the film is so full of insights about relationships, parental, friends, ex-lovers, and ultimately a bittersweet ending, I think a very uplifting ending. So I want to say thank you both and your collaborators for this gift that you have given to anyone who is able to watch the film. And I hope Here We Are does get a definite United States distribution agreement, so more and more people can see it. But I know everyone attending these screenings of the film are going to be telling their friends about it because it really is extraordinary in so many ways. And so are both of you. So I want to thank you for joining us, sharing your insights on the process of making the film and the meaning of it. We're just so very grateful you could spend time with us. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you so much for screening our film. Hope you enjoy it. And tell your friends, we have a distribution in America.
Oh, you did?
Yes, yes. Menemsha Films
Right.
are distributing the film, and they want to have it on big screens when this virus is going to allow us to do that. So hopefully, you know, you will carry the voice of and say it to your friends when the film reaches the big screen. We will, hopefully we'll sometimes come to see the film on a big screen also.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think it's a film, there are certain genres like comedy that are best experienced in a group.
Yeah.
And this is certainly a film that I think the experience would be greatly enhanced by being in a room of people equally absorbed and following it. So, okay, well, fingers crossed on that. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Ciao. Bye-bye.